Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess, it's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Maxime begins with nf3. A flexible knight step claiming key central squares and quietly testing Wesley's early defensive posture. Wesley replies nf6, mirroring development with calm precision, while preparing to counterpunch once the tension in the center rises. Maxime pushes c4, expanding queenside space and hinting at long-term pressure designed to stretch Wesley's sturdy pawn structure. Wesley strikes with g6, preparing a powerful kingside fianchetto that reinforces dark squares and sharpens upcoming counterplay points. Maxime develops nc3, tightening his grip on central influence and increasing the positional pressure Wesley must carefully navigate. Wesley challenges immediately with d5, grabbing central ground boldly and demanding Maxime decide how sharp the opening will become. Maxime captures cx-d5, opening central lines and forcing Wesley to show how confidently he handles early structural imbalances. Wesley recaptures nx-d5, activating the knight aggressively while restoring equilibrium and eyeing tactics against Maxime's setup. Maxime plays g3, securing dark squares and preparing the long diagonal bishop to contest Wesley's fianchettoed formation. Wesley fianchettos with bj7, placing the bishop on a deadly diagonal aimed deep into White's territory. Ready for future fireworks. Maxime continues bg2, assembling a harmonious kingside structure and preparing to castle as tension quietly thickens. Wesley challenges with c5, taking space and provoking exchanges while announcing his readiness for a complex middle game battle. Maxime checks with k4, probing weaknesses and forcing Wesley to respond accurately before continuing his development smoothly. Wesley blocks with n6, developing naturally, while shutting down the queen's annoyance and strengthening central control instantly. Maxime jumps, ing5, injecting sharp tactical energy and hinting at threats on e6 that Wesley must neutralize without hesitation. Wesley answers e6, calmly sealing the center and blunting Maxime's tricks while preparing to strike back at the right moment. Maxime reroutes with nj4, aiming powerful pressure towards central squares and challenging Wesley's knights for dominance. Wesley plays nb6, harassing the queen for tempo while reorganizing his knights into positions that support future counterplay. Maxime slides qb5, and attacks qb5, maintaining activity and poking at b6 and c5, searching for any small structural concession from Wesley. Wesley thrusts c4, grabbing space aggressively and transforming the position into a dynamic battleground of fractured lines. Maxime replies nf4, repositioning the knight to target c5 and b6 while avoiding the expanding pawn spear threatening his queen. Wesley castles o0, securing his king and unleashing rook activity as the middle game tension begins to reach dangerous levels. Maxime captures nxb6, removing Wesley's advanced knight and opening new avenues for pressure against Black's expanding structure. Wesley recaptures xb6, reinforcing the A-file and preparing long-range pressure down newly opened lines toward white's position. Maxime matches qe4, regaining the pawn and momentarily centralizing the queen in hopes of calming Wesley's surging momentum. Wesley answers Epheumes Dem, Pilwis and Antennius Exoish, zeitzing central space forcefully and pushing Maxime's queen to respect black's increasingly energetic forces. Maxime retreats qc2 to a. Maintaining coordination and bracing for the storm, Wesley is constructing across the central battlefield. Wesley develops b6, linking his pieces smoothly and hinting at tactical ideas that will soon explode across open central lines. Maxime plays nc3, tightening his structure again and preparing reinforcements as Wesley's pressure continues building steadily. Wesley advances b5, a bold queenside expansion that drives tempo while threatening to trap Maxime's central foothold. Maxime responds bsq6, removing a powerful defender and attempting to blunt Wesley's initiative before it becomes overwhelming. Wesley recaptures bx669, unrennen, hik opening dangerous lines for rook and queen activity while maintaining structural harmony in the center. Maxime stabilizes with b3, guarding c4 and preparing to challenge Wesley's advancing pawns before they fully overrun the flank. Wesley places bf5, activating the bishop fiercely and tightening pressure on central squares Maxime can scarcely afford to lose. Maxime pushes d3, reinforcing the center and hoping to slow Wesley's tightening grip before the position bursts open. Wesley fires e4, a stunning thrust tearing open the heart of white's defenses and igniting the decisive phase of the battle. Maxime accepts with dc4, attempting to defuse the explosion while praying Wesley's initiative doesn't become unstoppable. Wesley captures bc4, planting a crushing bishop deep in white's position and radiating threats that reshape the entire board. Maxime eliminates it with nc4, desperately simplifying as he tries to avoid being drowned under Wesley's accelerating attack. Wesley strikes bx1, ripping material with ruthless precision and dragging the game into a wild imbalance favoring his activity. Maxime castles rushing his king to safety and hoping rapid development can counter Wesley's dangerous material advantage. Wesley centralizes re8, preparing tactical blows along open files and pushing his initiative toward a decisive breakthrough. Maxime plays f3, reinforcing his center and trying to keep Wesley's pieces from swarming into critical weaknesses. Wesley checks with bd4, forcing Maxime's king to freeze as black's coordination tightens around key vulnerable squares. Maxime blocks e3, trying to shut lines and buy breathing room against Wesley's increasingly synchronized attacking army. Wesley retreats to bg7, repositioning calmly and preparing to relaunch pressure with even sharper coordination than before. Maxime brings Ardon, centralizing his rook to resist incoming threats and searching for any chance to reorganize his forces. Wesley plays qc7, eyeing the c-file's invasion routes and stacking new tactical threats Maxime must address immediately. Maxime advances RD6. Boldly entering enemy territory to disrupt structure and challenge Wesley's confident central dominance. Wesley pushes C5, strengthening space and preparing to unleash a dangerous pawn wave that could shred Maxime's fragile defenses. Maxime replies, Heir D5, maintaining rook activity in the center and trying to disturb Wesley's growing web of interconnected threats. Wesley counters Re5, swinging the rook aggressively and escalating pressure on every weak point in Maxime's increasingly strained camp. Maxime retreats Ardon, recoordinating defenses and attempting to consolidate as Wesley's army continues squeezing relentlessly. Wesley advances C4, spawning a dangerous passed pawn that threatens to rip White's queenside apart with unstoppable force. Maxime plays A3, grabbing space and trying to halt the pawn avalanche threatening to overwhelm his already cramped formation. Wesley answers Re7, reinforcing the 7th rank and preparing to double rooks in a crushing formation aimed at total domination. Maxime captures Bxc4, eliminating the advanced pawn and attempting to slow Black's momentum before it becomes fatal. Wesley recaptures Qxe4, planting his queen deep and generating immediate threats that knife through Maxime's fragile defense. Maxime shifts Qd2, reorganizing desperately while seeking harmony among pieces that are rapidly losing coordination. Wesley plays Qb3, establishing a monster queen on an invasive outpost that threatens multiple weaknesses simultaneously. Maxime responds Qd6, trying to block lines and create counterplay threats as Wesley's attack looms dangerously close. Wesley deploys Re8, seizing command of the C-file and lining up a heavy force infiltration that Maxime can barely contest. Maxime leaps Nf2, scrambling to reinforce critical squares and slow Wesley's tightening stranglehold across both flanks. Wesley doubles with Rec7, and haste, forming a devastating rook battery that prepares direct penetration into White's weakening camp. Maxime plays Bd2, adding defenders and praying coordinated resistance can delay the collapse looming over his position. Wesley calmly places B5, harmonizing every piece and preparing the final assault with precise, suffocating pressure. Maxime moves Qd4, seeking counterplay and trying to open lines that might relieve the crushing weight of Wesley's attack. Wesley captures Bxf3, snapping material ruthlessly while exposing White's king to even more lethal threats across open diagonals. Maxime answers Kgtoo, stepping his king away from immediate danger and desperately hoping to survive the intensifying crossfire. Wesley finishes with Bb2, a decisive placement that seals off escape squares and leaves Maxime facing unavoidable collapse. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again. Everyone, see you in the next video.